In southern Europe, there is a well-known country called Greece. The Greek people have lived in this country for thousands of years. It has about 11 million inhabitants and a land area of 132,000 square kilometers. Although Greece has a larger land area than most other European and Balkan countries, 80% of its territory is mountainous or hilly. This means that some of the islands are not suitable for settlement. Greece is undoubtedly one of the most mountainous countries in Europe. One reason Greece has such a large surface area is that it has more than 6,000 islands and islets of various sizes. The most well-known islands are Crete, Santorini, Rhodes, and Mykonos. Together with the islands, Greece has a huge 16,000-kilometer coastline. These islands are so famous that millions of tourists come to Greece every year to visit them and take a vacation. Even though some of the islands are uninhabited, they are open to visitors who want to swim. Studies by various research companies show that around 40 million tourists visited Greece last year. More than half of these visits, of course, take place in the summer months. Greece is perhaps the most popular and affordable summer tourism destination among Balkan and European countries. Visitors from the Americas also come to Greece during the summer. The most important reason is that Greece is one of the sunniest countries in the world. At least 250 days out of the year are sunny and warm. Some years have 300 sunny days. This makes Greece one of the sunniest countries in the world. Furthermore, Greece's southern border faces the Aegean Sea. In the north, the country shares land borders with Albania, North Macedonia, and Bulgaria. Similarly, it shares land borders with Turkey in the east. Greece is also home to a nation with a long history. Its people are descended from those who shaped the ancient world. Some were soldiers, while others were artists or scientists. For example, the famous Alexander the Great was a Greek soldier and commander. Additionally, philosophers such as Socrates, Aristotle, and Plato hailed from this Aegean region. Thanks to the efforts of ancient Greeks, democracy first emerged in history, and mathematics and engineering began to develop seriously. Athens, still their capital today, was their most important city for thousands of years. It was also the historical capital of Europe. For hundreds of years, it was a port city of trade and art. The first Olympic Games in history were held in Athens. The Olympic Games, the most prestigious international sports organization today, were first held in Greece in 776 BC. Gold medals were awarded to the winning athletes. Greece has close to 11 million inhabitants, and almost half of this total population lives in Athens. This is why Athens is one of the top 5 most populous cities in the European Union. In this video, we will share our observations about Athens, the capital of Greece, and one of the most important capitals in human history. Life in Athens starts early in the day. Since Greece is a service-oriented country, people go to work around 8 or 9 in the morning. Some work in tourism agencies, while others sell products in their shops. The rest of the population includes civil servants and construction workers. People often look like they haven't had breakfast on their way to work. Early in the morning, the bakeries are crowded, and Greeks order sandwiches and pastries. Hawkers without shops have also made a place for themselves on every street corner in Athens, selling baked goods. This male peddler, for example, was selling fresh round bagels with sesame seeds. Similarly, this elderly woman was selling salty snacks, as well as sweet pies and sesame rolls. Greeks buy breakfast foods that will keep them full until noon. Afterwards, they prefer to ride bicycles, electric scooters, or city buses to work. Of course, some people drive their own vehicles. However, there are big traffic jams in Athens all year round. While we were filming, the streets were packed with cars. Drivers in Athens are aggressive and drive fast. They hesitate to yield to pedestrians, and sometimes they don't stop at all. Accidents happen all the time in traffic. People rush across the street, even when there is a pedestrian path. Drivers in Greece drive like crazy, so to speak. There is also a significant parking problem in Athens. If you live there or rent a car for a short time, it will be difficult to find a parking space. Therefore, people who have to get somewhere don't want to waste time in traffic or looking for a parking space. As a solution, many people have made a habit of using bicycles. While trying to understand the quality of life there, you may suddenly come across homeless people who have just woken up. Around noon, the air temperature rises above 30 degrees Celsius. Because of this, the homeless can't get comfortable in the sweltering heat, so they start wandering around. In central Athens, we saw many homeless people and beggars. Sadly, most of these people were elderly. They had nowhere to go and were asking people for money. Some homeless people had fallen asleep in a corner and had not yet started their day. This location, for example, is called Syntagma Square, one of the most central points in Athens. The first important piece of architecture you will see in the square is the Parliament building. Completed in 1843, the building was originally a royal residence. After 1935, it was converted into a parliament building, which it remains today. This tourist attraction in the center of Athens is the site of a military changing of the guard ceremony. Soldiers stand guard in a hut all day without moving. Walk a little south from the square, and you will arrive at the Acropolis of Athens, perhaps the most iconic symbol of Greece. Located on a rocky hilltop in the city, the Acropolis is the remains of a temple built around 500 BCE. Despite 2,500 years passing since then, it is perfectly preserved and intact. This architectural monument is one of the most important places to visit in Athens, especially during the day. When you look up in Athens, you will also see symbols of Athena, the goddess who protects the city, on top of buildings. Athena is not only the patroness of the city, but also the Greek people's goddess of war, strategy, and wisdom. According to legend, Athena won the love of the Greek people by giving them olive trees and became the patroness of Athens. If historical architecture and mythical stories don't interest you, you can stroll around the magnificent central square in the early hours of the day. No matter where you look, you will see activity and vibrancy. For example, a group of older men gathered together to play music with their instruments. Similarly, a group of men and women were singing Greek songs with microphones and trying to get tips from tourists. The Greeks have decorated the narrow streets beautifully and prepared them for the service sector. There are photo opportunities around every corner. If you're hungry at noon, you can try the chicken doner kebabs that the Greeks have made their own specialty. There are many doner kebab vendors around. The most delicious doner kebabs are said to be made in Turkey and the Middle East. This Eastern culinary tradition is one of the most popular forms of fast food in European countries, such as Greece and Germany. These chicken doner kebabs are low in calories and inexpensive. On average, a hearty portion costs 6 or 7 euros. Some establishments also make this kebab with pork. Greece is a member of the European Union and has been an important member since 1981. Therefore, Greece is more developed than the other Balkan countries around it. In fact, tens of thousands of people from non-EU countries, such as North Macedonia, want to go to Greece and obtain a residence permit. This country is a great tourist destination, and it receives military and financial incentives from the European Union. Before joining the European Union, Greece didn't have a properly functioning land transportation system and only had a primitive railroad line. In 2011, the Athens Metro opened. Nowadays, you can get anywhere in the capital with the metro and rail systems. Metro and train stations in Athens are crowded all day long. People come from the outskirts of Athens to work in the central area and return home in the evening by metro or train. The subway systems look very clean and well maintained. Similarly, the trains don't feel old, and it is safe to travel inside them. Additionally, station names are written in English as well as Greek to help tourists understand more easily. Greeks have their own alphabet and language. Since this language is difficult to learn and pronounce, you will find signs in English everywhere in Athens. The Greek alphabet is historically the origin of many different alphabets, including the Latin alphabet. Some say the Greek alphabet has been used for more than 3,500 years. In my opinion, when you are in Athens, use the subway instead of taxis to travel cheaply for a fifth of the taxi price. This way, you will also get to experience daily life in Athens and interact with the locals. Additionally, no matter where you go on the metro in Athens, you will see architectural monuments from ancient times. Greece has the highest number of archaeological museums in the world. Athens, the capital city, is like an open-air museum, full of stone structures from 2,000 years ago. Of course, Greece has supermarkets. However, the people of the Aegean region live more traditionally. In the non-touristy areas of Athens, you will see many local open-air markets. These markets offer the freshest natural fruits and vegetables. Moreover, Greek farmers selling their products at these markets will sell you fruits and vegetables at much cheaper prices than supermarkets. The vendors are, on average, over 50 years old and kind to tourists. On the subject of food prices, here are a few prices from a supermarket we visited in Athens. Here are the prices of some protein foods and yogurts, which average around 3 euros. Lemons are sold for around €1.50 per kilogram. These packaged carrots look like they cost less than €1 per pack, but they actually cost 1.5 euros per kilogram. If you live in an agricultural paradise like Greece, don't buy food at expensive supermarket prices. Instead, go to public markets and buy fresh food at half the price. Similarly, Greece is one of the countries where you can find the highest quality fish at the lowest prices. Tons of fish are caught daily from the mainland and islands. Fish caught off the coast of the Aegean Sea are shipped to Athens and other cities in Greece. Additionally, fresh fish is exported to landlocked Balkan countries. If you want to buy delicious cheap fish, you will find large indoor fish markets in Athens. There, you will find hundreds of varieties of fresh fish at the stalls. You can buy fish by the grain or by the kilo. The price per kilogram varies depending on the type of fish, but you can buy 1 kilogram for an average price between 3 and 7 euros. Of course, if you want to visit a fish market, be aware that you will smell heavily of fish. Fish markets have an intense, dominant fish smell. By the way, most Greeks have tanned skin and dark hair. As you might expect, people from hot countries usually have bronze and dark skin. Similarly, people in southern European countries such as Malta, Spain, and Portugal are not very white-skinned. If you're tired of touring architectural sites and markets, you can enjoy a nice coffee at one of the many cafes in central Athens. There are plenty of authentic cafes in the city, most of which are painted blue and white. Businesses like these take a break from work in the middle of the day and reopen their shops in the afternoon. The cafes are full of people of all ages, most of whom are tourists. Northern European tourists tend to have whiter skin and blonde hair, which makes them stand out from the locals. On the other hand, Asians, Africans, and Arabs have more varied physical appearances and clothing styles. In the center of Athens, you will also see smartly dressed men and women who are clearly business people, even if